Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Land Development 101 episode. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe these days. Today I'm really excited because we're going to be doing something a little different in this video. We are actually going to be talking about an actual land development case study, which actually comes out of one of the chapters of my latest case studies book, 10 real-life land development lessons, which is now available on Amazon, so I'm super excited to share that with you. Now, in this book, we'll actually dissect real-life land development case studies. We'll talk about mistakes that have been made, which results in great lessons that we'll pass on to you so you don't make those same mistakes, and you'll also learn some great land development concepts along the way. And each chapter also has some great illustrations to really help you get a firm grasp on this. So you definitely want to check that out. I'll leave a link below. So with that being said, let's jump back into this case study. The case study lesson we're going to talk about here is always make sure you pothole or verify your elevations of your existing pipe. Now, just a little background in this example. This particular project that I'm referring to was located up on a hill, so the entry of the track climbed up quite a bit. So if we zoom in and look at the entrance here, and I also want to get a POV perspective. So from Cherry Street, looking at the track entrance, let's move in there and take a look at that entrance there. You can see that it actually rises up quite a bit. And keep that in mind because that's going to come back into play as we continue to analyze this a little bit later. But let's move back, and I want to switch over to plan view because now I want to show you what's going on underneath the ground. So with this project, the existing storm drain was already in Cherry Street, and the new proposed storm drain was going to enter the track as such. So that meant this was going to be our tie-in location. Now, before we analyze this any further, I just briefly want to talk about some general construction background so you can understand this better. Now, this is how you typically start installing pipe, specifically gravity pipe, meaning that this pipe relies on gravity to transfer and drain its contents. So if this is your existing main line, and this is your new proposed storm drain, now typically your pipe is installed at that lowest elevation point, which is typically your tie-in point, in order to ensure that the contents can drain properly, which would be right there. And then you would work your way up. Now, if you first start installing your pipe at that lowest elevation point and then build up, then this will ensure that your entire site will be able to drain properly. Now, this is so important because in order to drain properly, your pipe needs to have a minimum slope, which is about 2%. Now, you can notice that that 2% is not that far off from 0%. So at any point, if your pipeline doesn't reach your 2%, then your contents aren't going to drain properly and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So again, why is it important to verify the locations and elevations of the existing pipe? Well, because the reality is, in the field, things don't always get built exactly where the plans call for. And the pipe is no exception. Sometimes the existing pipe you need to tie into can be lower or higher in the ground. Okay, now let's take a look at the wrong way to install pipe. That is the given location of the existing main line for the tie-in per the plans, and it's important to note that this has not been verified. So once again, this is just the location of the existing main line per the plans, and it has not been verified in the field. And let's say this is the new proposed storm drain, but for some reason your pipe construction started further up the pipeline. Now, if you begin with installing your pipe at a higher point within your site, and then you reach your POC or point of connection, only to find out that the existing pipe is actually higher in the ground than what you thought, then you're screwed. Especially if your pipe is already at the minimum required slope. So in this example, you will now have to reroute your pipeline and start building up in order to reach that actual location of the existing pipe. But now your minimum slope is not met, therefore the contents of the pipe won't flow properly, and this will cause the pipe to back up. And again, now you're in a lot of trouble. So now that you know the general construction background of installing pipe, now let's get back to the actual case study project. So again, here's the plan view of the track entry, and what we're going to do is take a cross section and we're going to zoom in and look at this in a profile view. So there's the existing storm drain main line, and unfortunately in this example we did not pothole, and so the elevation of that existing pipe was not verified. And here was the proposed new storm drain line to get into the track. Now, at the time when we wanted to start the wet utilities, unfortunately, there was also a lot of offsite work going on with the street, as well as some dry utilities right outside of the track boundary in Cherry Street. So unfortunately, we could not start here at the existing main line for our tie-in and work our way up. But at the same time, we didn't want our track to be held up. So what we decided to do was start our pipe construction right here, and then we would just work our way up, and then we would finish the whole storm drain as well as all the remaining wet utilities within the tract, and then we would just come back for this piece later. Now, lo and behold, as you can guess, when we came back to do the tie-in, we actually found out that the actual pipe location was further up here and it wasn't where the plans called for it to be. So what that meant is if we wanted to finish the connection, our storm drain pipe would actually end up doing something like this, which, as we talked about earlier, unfortunately that would not work because the storm drainage wouldn't be able to flow properly and it would back up the site. So it was back to the drawing board for our engineer. And per our engineer, the new tie-in location for the storm drain would be into this existing catch basin, which was across and down the street. So what we did was snake underneath that existing storm drain. That was going to be our tie-in point. And we had to cross through the existing paving as well as the existing median and the landscaping and tie into that catch basin. And what's interesting, you can actually see all the repair work that we had to do in the Google Maps view. So there's the new route of the storm drain. And you can see all the patchwork in the street here, all from that work that we had to do. And as you could have guessed, obviously that extra run of storm drain and having to repair the existing street as well as the median and landscaping definitely cost us a whole lot more money. So the great lesson learned from this case study example is you must always pothole in order to verify the elevations of existing pipe. Not just for your tie-in locations, but also for crossing locations where you may be having to build and cross other existing utility lines. Because as I mentioned before, it is so common that things, when they are placed in the ground, are not always built exactly in the ground where the plans call for it to be. So it is always worth the time and the money to pothole up front in order to verify these things. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you want more of this, then you have to head over to Amazon and buy this book. There are more case studies just like this with great lessons for you to learn. And again, I'll leave a link below. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and visit us on our website at landdevelopment101.com.